Good morning, everyone. I am Mary Conley Eggert, and I'm delighted to welcome you to How WaterTech Goes to Market, a four-part webinar series sponsored by Accelerate H2O. The focus of our time today is to give you an overview of the Texas water opportunity, the go-to-market webinar sessions, and the branding and marketing resources that will help strategically position your organization for the Texas and global water ecosystem. I'm Mary Conley Eggert, a 25-year tech PR and sales leader and experienced in bringing technologies to market. And I have the pleasure of partnering with Richard and Chuck, who will introduce themselves in a moment. I have an MBA from Kellogg Graduate School, and I'm also a certified facilitator of the Dale Carnegie course. As a result of my training and coaching experiences, I've come to believe that almost every sales success is a result of being able to see the situation from the customer's perspective. You are the customer for this series, and we invite your questions to Accelerate H2O on what you need. I'll let my co-hosts introduce themselves. Richard.
Good morning, Mary, and thank you to you and Chuck for organizing this excellent series and for obviously providing your extensive background and knowledge in both the water and marketing branding areas. I'm Richard Steele, the Executive Director and Senior Advisor of Accelerate H2O. You'll learn a little bit more about our organization in a few minutes. My background is over 30 years in the technology-based economic development arena, having worked with over 700 different technologies from across the spectrum of biotech, life sciences, IT, nanotech, and now water. Having worked with 180 different communities and regions around the world, I've been pleased and honored to work with investors, inventors, innovators, entrepreneurs in building a new generation of technology companies and economies. This morning's webinar is an opportunity for us to engage with you, technology leaders in emerging companies, in building out a stronger presence in our Texas market. Chuck, I look forward to hearing from you as well, and thank you both again for this opportunity to collaborate.
I'm Chuck Pflueger, and I've had more than 35 years of B2B and B2C experience in all facets of marketing, business development, and sales acceleration. I've worked in several economic sectors, including energy, both power and oil and gas, renewable energy, technology, first responder safety, and healthcare. This year, I joined forces with GlobalWaterWorks and Accelerate H2O to help water technologists bring their solutions to market. My strengths lie in helping companies, 1, figure their differentiated selling propositions, 2, communicate the essence of their solution to their best prospects, and 3, help them accelerate their sales. I'm really pleased to partner with both Mary and Richard. Richard's going to tell you a little bit more about Accelerate H2O, and then he'll hand this off to Mary, who will explain GlobalWaterWorks. Take it away, Richard.
Thank you, Chuck. So Accelerate H2O, formed as a result of the drought of record, focuses on innovation, demonstration, and investing in what is our $9 billion marketplace. We do this through a number of programs, such as the one today, including our annual investor forum. We conduct and have implemented 7 regional roundtables based on different industry requirements in confidential discussions and sessions. Food and beverage, data and instrument integration, oil and gas produced water, all the way over to skills and talent required for the workforce that's needed in the future based on the retirement of over 55,000 individuals. Through our website, you can find a number of reports, briefings, updated information and news, as well as background materials on our roundtables and our functioning programs that serve the needs of the 7,000 utilities, small and large, as well as the over 5,000 corporate campuses in our state. We are a $9 billion market. We are very diverse, everything from oil and gas production in the Permian Basin to petrochemical and plastics manufacturing on the Gulf Coast. Our water needs are abundant, but we also are faced by persistent drought in the west part of the state to floods and storms in the eastern part of the state. Therefore, we are always looking for advantages to solve unique problems, whether it's too much water or not enough water, for making our industries and our communities consistently supplied with uninterruptible sources of water. So today's forum and today's setting provides you, I think, unique opportunities for selling into this $9 billion market. But because we're so fragmented, it is very difficult and challenging for companies who are based here or coming in from anywhere around the world to access our market. Therefore, our partnership with GlobalWaterWorks is a path to your market, to your sales, to your revenue base. Mary, let me turn it back to you.
Yeah, well, very exciting, Richard. And in fact, Texas is one of the best demonstration hubs, and we know you are opening one up here in Houston. And that we are actually here because our clients who have been successful have been very successful in Texas due to the innovation and the very obvious need. I mentioned earlier my background in technology marketing. We left technology to focus on the water sector when we learned about the 2030 report, which details the 40% gap between the supply and demand of water projected to occur in 2030. Because of population growth, because of increased demand for water resources. And we now operate a marketing consultancy to help accelerate the adoption of smart and efficient water technologies, such as those that Richard supports in Texas. We developed this webinar series because we believe of the value of technology, but also because we saw that many of the water technologists were not as familiar with marketing. And we do have a very fragmented market, as Richard described. What you'll be able to tap in our next 4 sessions is 150 plus years of wisdom, not because Richard, Chuck, or I are that old, but because we're going to bring in experts from across the industry to share how they have navigated and been successful. And we've also identified $100,000, actually much more than that, in tools, research, and templates. And many of these are available free, but they are hard to find if you're not familiar with the water sector. And that's what we'll put you in touch with, hopefully making you feel in the flow of Texas, if not global water opportunities. And I'm thrilled to have Chuck Pflueger taking us through the sessions important to water technologists.
Thanks, Mary. Generally, we don't think of brands in the water sector. By leveraging modern marketing principles and offering solid case studies of successful water technologies, we'll help ease your go-to-market efforts. That's the kind of stuff we'll cover in our 4-part series. But today, we're offering a high-level overview of each of the upcoming webinars. The first is brand management. The quote that you see on the screen really gets to the heart of the matter. Your brand had better be delivering something special, or it's not going to get the business. That's really true. Many people think of a brand as a single product or even a logo. It's more than that. Your brand represents the embodiment of everything that your company stands for in its relationships and dealings with all of its stakeholders, including employees. For a service company, every point of contact adds to the value of your brand. But a single negative contact can erode public confidence in a brand, and that's really important stuff. In some countries, accounting rules let a company establish a monetary value for their brand on their books. Your brand is a tangible asset, and we'll talk about ways to strengthen your brand's reputation in the brand management webinar coming up on May 22nd. In the absence of a message or a brand, your best prospects will make assumptions, or worse, they will confuse the market with their own message about what you do. It might not be to your liking, and that's something you don't want to have happen. A best prospect is defined as a prospect that will buy a solution like yours, either from you or a perceived competitor, within the foreseeable future. 6 to 18 months, depending upon your sales cycle, is what I would call the foreseeable future. So here's a tip. A well-placed corporate overview and case study takes you a long way in today's digital marketplace. If you do nothing else, these 2 stories can focus your efforts and advance your message to your best prospects. A concise and well-written overview helps your prospects understand what you provide and how you provide it. Better yet, if it's placed in a directory which is optimized for search, like the Water Network, you will extend your reach by showing up prominently in Google inquiries. Succinct case studies presented in a problem solution result format helps prospects see themselves benefiting from your experiences with others. Why is this important? It's important because the barriers to market entry are very low, but the barriers to market penetration in water are extremely high. Your brand reputation in the water space supports referrals. Mary, did you have a comment that you wanted to relate to regarding these?
Just on this this idea of where you show up in the water space, because there are hubs and connection points like the atlas.com and like SplashLink, and you mentioned the Water Network, Chuck. These are resources that will put people in touch with so that you can create a network of influence, not just your own website.
But brand management is more. Next slide. Positioning your brand within the water sector is vital. There are two kinds of positioning at work here, and this is what we're going to be talking about in the webinar scheduled for June 19th. The first involves associating your company with GlobalWaterWorks and Accelerate H2O. Doing so gets you recognized as a legitimate player in the water sector. The second deals with positioning your company's solution and image so that it occupies a distinct and valued place in the water sector. Brand positioning strategy is all about creating favorable associations. The second involves positioning your solution in water. Again, two key strategic issues are at work. Number one are establishing points of parity, and number two, establishing points of difference. Points of parity associations may not be unique to your brand, but may be shared with other brands. Often, attributes like these are necessary for your solution to be part of a considered set of alternatives required by the end users in the water sector. In other words, it's the price of entry into the market. Other necessary specifications may call for water solutions that have a specific life span, material composition, or energy source. But what's key and what you really need to establish are your points of difference. Customers will associate these attributes closely with your brand, and that's what you really want. You'll see how that worked when Mary discusses the Iridium Satellite link in today's case study a little later in this presentation. Here's a tip. Customer and best prospect input is extremely valuable. I can't stress enough how important customer and prospect research is when developing your points of difference. In addition to customer satisfaction research, like that shown in this example, intention to buy and needs-based market research helps you determine how to strategically position your solutions to meet the needs of the market. In these days of corporate ADHD and microscopic attention spans, it's really easy for someone to jump to conclusions. But some research performed early on can help you understand how a prospect perceives your offering. Fortunately, a lot of research on marketplace needs and drivers has already been conducted by the EPA, the Water Research Foundation, and even the Milken Institute. We will share research sources that may be valuable, many of which are free. It actually might help you save time and money, and maybe will even keep some of you all in business. Why is this important? You can have a great brand, but solid research is needed. So your solutions are positioned correctly, and so they are understood by your target market as relevant.
Yeah, I love that point, Chuck, because actually your audience will tell you what you need, what they need, so that you can prepare all the materials they need to buy.
And your audience will tell you how they understand your solution based upon the way you've explained it to them. It may be that your explanation falls short of what you really want the audience to take away. It's really important. I can't stress research enough.
I agree.
I like this quote. I'm all for conversation, but you need to have a message. So the next topic in our webinar series deals with marketing communications, and that's scheduled for August 21st. Y'all can probably think of someone who talks and talks without saying anything. Don't be a corporate version of that person. It's really important that your outreach efforts reinforce the brand management and positioning strategies that you've developed. It's especially important when it comes to communicating your points of difference. There are lots of paid and social communication channels that you can use to get the word out. But the most important thing to remember is to communicate to your best prospects and customers in ways that they are accustomed to receiving information about a service or solution like yours. The second thing is that your communications must entice action. It doesn't do you, your budget, or your sales forecast much good if someone sees your message and does not act. Here's a tip. People love to buy, but they hate to be sold. Take the time to understand the customer's buying process. Then create and align your content, your communications content, to support their assessment processes. This ensures a great fit, and it ensures timely communications that are relevant. Understanding the buying process means that you will avoid unnecessary expense by producing only the content that is needed when it's needed. Compelling content incorporates reasons to believe that your solution works, and that helps eliminate doubt in the minds of your prospect. It doesn't eliminate all questions, but it does get you past the first hurdle of this is not right for me, because it is. The content planner that we'll share in the Marketing Communications webinar ensures that your communications move a best prospect forward for further consideration, trial, and purchase. Evidence or reasons to believe are powerful tools. We'll also look at ways to defeat doubt in the due diligence process. But again, the most important takeaway is to communicate to your prospects and customers in ways that they are accustomed to receiving information about a service or solution like yours. Mary's going to...
You know, Chuck, let me
Yes,
take
sir.
advantage of interrupting. I think this is a critical point that we have found, and I think we've discussed this amongst each other, that sometimes technology and equipment providers focus so heavily on the technical or the scientific and don't get across the solution. It may be a solution that has an economic benefit. It may have an economic offset. I'm going to use less energy or less chemicals. So I think what you're stressing here, and I hope our listeners and members will join in understanding, is that don't put your engineering or your technical foot forward. Listen to what the customer is saying and come forward with a solution that they need. It may be an operational need. It may be a budget or economic need. I cannot stress how often we've heard across the state of Texas that individuals, in presenting their technology or their equipment, Chuck, are trying to teach the individual sitting across from them how to become a water engineer. They lose the market opportunity by not understanding, doing their diligence, and in communicating what that listener is really looking for. So thank you for raising this point, and hopefully this will drive the series of webinars that we're discussing.
Yeah, and thank you, Richard. We also have a number of templates that we'd be more than happy to share that help technologists understand how to develop their sales messaging with reasons to believe and supporting statements. So it's a very unique exercise, and it's a lot of fun to do, actually, and it really does help you position your product in front of the customer in ways that they'll understand, and also works toward helping you overcome objections to your solution. Mary is going to step up now and talk a little bit about engagements. Mary?
Yes, thank you, Chuck and Richard. I agree completely with what you're saying, and the webinars will be structured to help the technologists simplify marketing and get to market more quickly. And if I could give you just 3 pieces of advice for successfully penetrating any market, I would say connect, engage, and then enable or equip. It used to be that 7 touch points or connections were required to advance a prospect to a sale. But due to the fragmentation of media and the number of communications channels and number of different water organizations, you're looking at least 3 times that number of touch points just to connect. And then you obviously engage in conversations and start to listen, and then you equip or you enable your prospect to make a decision that's smart for them by answering their questions. But Accelerate H2O's demonstration hub is a great example of this. They know of a need and have invited technology companies to share their capabilities so that they can connect with the buyers who are looking to fill that need. Water organizations like the Texas AWWA, WEAT, the Water Environment Association of Texas, and the Texas Water Foundation are relevant to all technologies going to market in Texas, whereas the Produced Water Association and Irrigation Association address specific needs for oil and gas and agriculture. And this last session on engagement will bring all the 4 sessions together, addressing who do you need to engage, where do they show up, and why, and how have others successfully gained trial and purchase in their markets. In essence, what we're doing is suggesting you go fish where the fish are swimming. It's this model was created by Will Sarney of the Water Foundry together with Deloitte, giving us a sense for who's all in your water ecosystem and can influence that purchase decision or add value to your technology. Government organizations, academia, nonprofit organizations, multinational corporations, and regulatory bodies are among those. And we'll discuss the role of economic development centers like the EPA water clusters, including Accelerate H2O, and the Water Environment and Research Foundation's LIFT program, who are key hubs for disseminating information about new technologies. And all of these organizations are helping to showcase and demonstrate and can position you where your prospects are already looking for solutions. And they can also guide you in defining the solution and how you communicate it. Fortunately, many of them have done a lot of the research and the education to advance your prospects along. And the best part of this webinar series, I think, is that we're going to use examples that you can replicate so that you can more quickly navigate and learn from the lessons of those who have gone before. One such example is Smart Cover Systems. They are a client of GlobalWaterWorks, and they surprised us when they showed up at the Smart Water Networks Forum, the first North American event of that organization, because they had a comprehensive case study that talked about how they, first of all, identified a marketplace need and were able to fill it better than anyone else. They asked their clients, what's keeping you up at night? The team of water entrepreneurs had been working with wastewater treatment plants, and they had completed the solution for identifying cryptosporidium and wanted to find out what else could be addressed in the water space. And much to their surprise, their colleagues told them it's sewer overflows. And they figured they could create a system to monitor sewer overflows. They did so and started with a single demonstration, turned that into a success story that spread by word of mouth. It didn't hurt that utilities were facing a $10 per gallon fine for these overflows, so they were seeking any solution that could mitigate the risk. The result is that more than 300 utilities now rely on smart cover systems to automate monitoring processes and optimize cleaning, address sanitary sewer overflows and combined sewer overflows, and also help them with capital improvement planning. This story was shared last week at the Texas Water Association's conference by San Antonio, who happened to be the host. And as you'll see in this chart, it showed that the 10 systems were placed across the city. These were in hot spots that were regularly cleaned once a month to avoid any overflows. And they agreed to clean these hot spots only when the system told them it was needed. Rather than cleaning once a month, they found they just needed to go out to 7 different hotspots during the year, saving 94% of the costs associated with cleaning those spots. The red lines are the 10 cleaning across 10 spots across 12 months. The blue lines are the actual times they needed to clean. And that savings prompted them to expand to a full-scale implementation. What's neat is that once you start to talk to customers, you realize that they have a wealth of information and can also help shape your future innovation. These other two customers that SmartCover has surveyed and involved in their product development efforts shared that they were able to produce the same results that they had to pay previously $200,000 to get an I&I study done with cameraing and different solutions, and instead placed the two smart covers over an area and got enough information to address where they needed to do replacement or fixes on their pipes. Similarly, right here in Grand Prairie, Texas, Jim Siddall shared that they were able to move around the smart covers to identify I&I opportunities, but also the primary reason for installing was the 86 overflows, and by monitoring the system, they got those down to 2 to 3 per year. So Chuck mentioned earlier, the Iridium Satellite, a communications technology that brings together the smart cover information, is a differentiator. It was something they decided they needed because of outages in times of hurricanes where power sources and local communications may go down. And this has become a differentiator for smart cover systems and a key enabler for the utilities they serve. We all love successes, and the organizations like Accelerate H2O that are advancing technology are building on the successes and helping people learn from them. Fortunately, Smart Cover's experiences have been well documented, and they follow the process Chuck described and we'll go into in greater depth in our next 4 webinars. You'll see on the screen here, the National Association of Clean Water Agencies developed the Digital Utility of the Future report, and they reference the use of smart covers to mitigate a disaster. The Smart Water Networks Forum hosted their Chicago conference for North America and had the speakers share how they navigated and worked within the industry to bring this technology to market. And very interesting point for all of you in technology is that they did not rely on the technology, the alerts and alarms alone. They use telephones because they're aware that you can send these things out in email, but people don't respond to technology alone. And one of the great pieces of feedback and lessons for all technologists is that the human hand-holding to help people adapt to the new style of managing their system is really essential. And they also engage users in sharing stories, because we all know that utilities are not wanting to do things first, but they're wanting to learn and reference other clients like the San Antonio water system to build credibility with their internal teams that this is not something new, something they'll be testing for the first time, but instead something that's proven. And they have built a strong brand through a relentless commitment to innovation, and the 4 points we'll address in the webinars. They position themselves as a smart and secure Iridium-powered solution. Their customer-focused communication addresses their clients' questions in the buying process, and you'll see much of that if you go to their website at smartcoversystems.com. And they have also been actively involved in the industry organizations, engaging clients where they are seeking solutions and being present to support the industry organizations who are also involved with educating. Now, I think it's time to wrap up, and I'll turn it back over to Richard. Oh, actually,
So,
go ahead.
Yeah, so mark your calendars. As I mentioned earlier, the Go-to-Market webinar series is scheduled as follows. Branding would be Thursday, May 22nd. All of these are at noon, by the way. A brand positioning, June 19th. Marketing communications, August 21st. And the engagement series, September 13th. Each of these sessions will bring a little theory, but will provide practical input for going to market in the water sector. Each webinar is focused on ways to take action and will feature experts who will present case studies in their quest to bring successful water technologies to market. So you could spend the next 16 weeks going through a pile of marketing and branding books to hone your skills, or you could spend 4 hours over the next few months to tap into our consulting templates to position you ahead of your competition. So mark your calendars, but stay tuned for our emails, invitations as well. Richard will discuss the benefits and membership with Accelerate H2O? Richard?
I think this is an opportunity to provide a additional service in our membership program for 2018-2019. You've had an opportunity to get a little taste of the 4 areas of a marketing, branding, communications, and go-to-market strategy in our $9 billion market. We understand that every company, firm, business development team is challenged by our very large and very diverse, but very fragmented marketplace. This year, we launched our membership program, and what you've had an opportunity to listen to today is a benefit of that program. All future webinars will be conducted through joining our annual membership. I look forward to hearing back from each of you where we can customize your participation in not just these series of marketing, branding, and go-to-market strategies, but also the other programs that we offer, such as our Invest H2O, our roundtables, and as Mary has mentioned several times, our full-scale demonstration hubs, including the most recent announcement with the City of Houston on the largest municipal demonstration hub in North America on optimization and water resiliency. We've also announced a call for proposals in West Texas around One Water. Most importantly, through a series of webinars and training and access to experts such as GlobalWaterWorks, we want to make sure that you are doing business in Texas and are highly successful. That is our goal, and that is our mission. So thank you for your time today. Thank you again, Mary and Chuck, for organizing this. I know we gave everybody just a little dose of the opportunities that you both in your network of companies and experts in business development knowledge have. Thank you for organizing this, and I look forward to hearing back from those who have participated and listened into the webinar. Mary?
Yeah, Richard, I don't have anything more to say. We really appreciate being part of this. We think marketing is the gap that exists, because if people truly understood the opportunities that are available through technology to mitigate risk today, to create awareness, visibility, to augment workforce issues. There are so many drivers of decisions that we can help you align with. We're just very excited to be part of this, Richard. We appreciate your leadership in making these programs available. And as Chuck said, we're going to disclose as many templates and resources as we can to participants in this webinar so that you do get to market. And we're also available for Q&A during these webinar sessions. So thank you again. And Chuck, anything left to add?
No, I just want to thank everybody for letting me participate today. And we look forward to seeing you all in the next webinar.
Sounds great.
So let's go close some business. Let's go make some money today.
Amen. Right. Amen.
Right.
For that.
Okay.
Thank you all, and we'll talk soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.